Every successful person has a defining moment.
Only one good thing that I was good at was painting and drawing, which became now into a full profession. I had dyslexia and stuff. Design has a business angle. We won against some of the biggest boys, the world's best.
How would you describe your design philosophy?
What suits their personality.
What's the biggest change you've seen in what clients expect from a designer today?
Technology available that helps us. AI is like coming in a damn big way. You will have to tame AI for your own benefit.
Sustainability is now central to every conversation. Where do you see Indian architecture and design heading over the next 10 years?
It would be to design a whole city. Country will remember you forever.
Hi Bobby, welcome to Walk the Talk with Bulbeer. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for coming here.
Thank you. So let's begin your journey. Every successful person has a defining moment. What first drew you towards architecture and design?
Well, since a child, the only one good thing that I was good at was painting and drawing.
Okay.
So at the same time, I had issues about numbers as well as words, reading from books because I had dyslexia and stuff. So all my brain power was lopsided. So it was very easy for me to decide as to what kind of what to pursue, what kind of profession, or actually painting and stuff was my hobby, which became now into a full-fledged line of work because design and drawing is on the same lines.
True.
The reason I'm not a painter is because after seeing the stories of Van Gogh and other artists, who died paupers and all, I didn't want to experiment. So I
Sorry.
So I put my energies towards design, another form of art, and which has a business angle to it as well. And then plus you create large tangible assets for people to inhabit and use, and
it's quite rewarding as well.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun doing this kind of work.
Awesome. Looking back over more than 3 decades, what has been the biggest turning point in your professional journey?
Well, there were two things. I started very early while I was still a student in college, but I was actually initially working out of the US, but I continued my Bombay office as well, which my friends from school, from college, from design school managed on my behalf. So I lived half and half between US and Bombay, New York and Bombay for several years. And that's when I competed for the Ambi Valley project, which we won along with I had a partner, but they were from Los Angeles. So that journey continued for another 4 or 5 years, designing that project. But the other big turning point, which affects my present life and work, are the first 2 hotels that I designed. The first one was the Le Méridien in New Delhi, which was a huge 350 crore renovation in those days, which we won against some of the biggest boys in the interior design scene. They're the world's best. We won against the world's best because they would normally design these large branded hotels, and we happened to have won. And after the success of that hotel, and along with Sahara Star, which you might have seen in Bombay, that too happened a little bit later. But more importantly was the Le Méridien in New Delhi, which took us to a lot of places. The hospitality, large-scale luxury hospitality work that came our way exploded. And we realized that there was not much competition for us in that kind of work. But essentially, I'm an urban planner and an architect. Interior design comes much later. But I started really enjoying that and, meeting nice people in the hospitality field. They were good, cultured, well-mannered, smelling good, looking good, dressed well, and doing meetings in nice environments. And, you put your energies in that direction, automatically things fall into place, It's like, God listens. And because of which a large part of our work, even till now, is hospitality and grand and grand hotel projects.
All over the world.
And now it's, started with Delhi, but it's now all over the world.
Awesome.
And of course, we do real estate also, which is sort of allied, but like high-end real estate is something that we also do.
Lovely. When you started your practice, what was the biggest challenge you had to overcome?
Actually, my work just happened organically. There wasn't any big plans that I had that, or any system or any formula that I followed. It just worked damn hard. And hard work came also effortlessly because this is something I enjoyed. It was like my hobby, design was my hobby and it just became work. So I never felt like I was working. And initial challenge for me also, I was kind of lucky because, I grew up with some really good friends who are helpful to me in the beginning of my career, who allowed me, who helped me, getting my initial projects. I've never really worked anywhere in any firm as such. So I started really early and it just started with small projects and slowly scaled it up, and to the extent of work that we do now. But it started with one small neighbor's apartment. And
in India or
India, and in next to my house, on my neighbor's house in Bombay, in Bandra.
Nice. That's sweet. Was there a project early in your career that gave you the confidence to dream bigger?
I began with a bang, with the Ambi Valley project, which was the largest project in the history of independent India, I think.
Sure.
10,000 acres. But my madness also helped, being a bit crazy in terms of being so passionate about your work that I put in 1 year of my life into that project in terms of designing it to such an extent that what you see built on site right now is what I presented for the first time in the initial competition stage itself.
Oh.
So there was 1 year of work in that, and just with the conviction that I will mostly, win it.
Wow.
So, of course,
How long did it take?
Challenges were like, firstly, I was a kid. I was a nobody at that time. I alone, however good I might be, it's not enough. So I did manage to partner with a really large old American solid firm that I was lucky that they took me under their wings. And they were like the grandfathers in the business, and they partnered with me. So I was lucky for that. And we worked on the project together and we bid together. That time India was back of the beyond. That time, being in Afghanistan or Pakistan or Bangladesh is same as India.
Yeah.
So, and now we've gone a long way, but I remember seeing my partners' wives like being petrified at the thought of them coming here for meetings or something. So I said, I'll do all the work. I'll do all the hard work. You guys support me and give me certain guidance, and as and when required come. Otherwise, I'll do most of the work. And it worked out very well for me. So it began with a big bang, and then there was no looking back. So that's how it.
How long did the Sara Ambi Valley project take you to complete? To finishing, start to finish?
Well, it will take a lifetime to complete it. But in terms of design, our master plan, our scope of work was mainly doing the master planning of the whole project. So we didn't get into the micro detailing of the houses or the buildings there.
Of course. Yeah.
We did work on the small airport bit and some other small parts, but essentially it is the planning, the road network, the fact that there are lakes in these so and so locations, because we put dams there. All that was part of that initial master plan. Those lakes that you see now, which did not exist earlier, we put it in that master plan because we put the dam at the right place. And we knew that if you put the dam here, it's going to create a lake, 1.5 kilometer long lake.
Okay. The main lake.
Yeah. So all that was there in my initial design competition drawings.
Wow. Your projects often go beyond architecture and they create complete experiences. How would you describe your design philosophy?
Our projects turn out best when we have control over everything, all the design aspects, from architecture to the interior design to the lighting design to the landscape design. When we do all these four together, we have been able to create absolute so-called masterpieces, and we've been really well rewarded for or awarded for such projects. What differentiates us from many of the other firms is that we choose not to have a particular style or a no one's, which is slightly egoistic for an architect. This is my style, and my projects all over the world should have my signature style.
Mm-hmm.
If I followed that philosophy, I would not be that successful. My projects would not be that successful because we make tailor-made solutions for that location, for that brand, for that end user. Then we come up with a really apt design solution for that place, which invariably works. That's the reason why our projects are so successful, because we've, touched the right nerves that works for that project, So it's greatly varied. Our geographic locations or um, the situations are so different from each other. Something's in the middle of the desert, some things are on top of the Himalayas, and other ones in the middle of the Indian Ocean, in islands, the city projects, or sometimes in the forests. So in pure design sense, we are pluralistic in our design philosophy. But the success goes with the fact that we've been able to give the right environment, the right mood, the right levels of luxury for that location. And luxury is not necessarily about only using rich materials and all. It's a sensory experience.
Sure.
And in order to achieve that sensory experience, whatever it takes, it can vary anything from a rammed earth or a muddy wall finish to a very expensive marble finish with bronze on it and stuff like that. So there are two different ends of the spectrum. They both command the same price end of the day. And it's not that the other one is much cheaper to build. Yes, it might be more economical than a grand city project, but creating the right mood is the key.
True. You've designed for the hospitality industry where experience is everything. What do you think makes people instantly connect with a space?
That's what I just mentioned, in my previous. Because in the world of hospitality, when guests come, right, I look at my projects as not being a regular habitable space. They might come for a day, they might come for a week, or they might come for 2-3 days. But at that time that they are using that space, it should be a bit of a fantasy experience for them.
Sure.
For a child going to Disneyland. But this is an adult sensory experience that when they come and stay there, it should be something which does not compare to the home. It is something much better than the best experience that they can have in their own home.
True.
That involves a lot more than just a comfortable bed or a stylish room. You're teasing with the senses, and they do not know what is it that we are doing that has this play on their minds, and then they keep coming in again, and when the average rack rate of this hotel starts going higher and higher compared to their surrounding competition, and when it's really successful, then I know I've done my job right, because my design, end of the day, has to make business sense.
Absolutely.
The return on investment has to flow in. So we've been able to do that across all brands and all geographic locations, not just in India, even around the world. We've been able to study the culture of that place and somehow get it right, which I think designers should do. And sometimes they get egoistic, and they think, they'll do what they think is best in terms of what suits their personality, but it does not work.
No, even I want to know now, which is that point which you're talking about that actually takes us back and, I mean, gives us that extra special experience. I really need to know this. I have to go to some property now and check it out. I'm sure there must be, because I mean, the way you are saying, you're talking about being so passionate and, getting into every minute detail for the end user, which is most important, because at the end of the day, be it a home or a hotel, it's not a designer who lives in, it's the end user, and it should be the best experience that, every day he feels that, oh my God, I want to go back. I mean, even at home, sometimes you just get tired of your own home because you just made it like overwhelming after a point, just to keep up to the status symbol, etc. It's not that, you're not enjoying it after a point. But I think it's very important, when the designer actually plans it in a way that, every day is special for the end user. And
so when it comes to homes, we also do a few important or large residential residences, not a builder's real estate project, but for a large villa or a second home. Sometimes they go up to a very, very large size. We try to create an experience as that. There's no hotel, there's no presidential suite in the world that can compare with what you already have. What you go outside to experience, you experience it in your own house on a daily basis.
And you enjoy it.
Yeah. So but it's the same thing that goes with it's the same philosophy that applies to my hotel as well. We bring in, of course, in a slightly more sane way, since it's one's home. In the other ones, we do cross the line a little bit and create something that is surreal. So we do that right from our first project, which was the Meridian, which was a complete surreal experience. We won that because that time Le Meridian brand's design brief was art and tech.
Okay.
And the other two big daddies in the business, the world's biggest firms who are doing that, were bidding for the project. They didn't get the brief right as much as I did for the mock-up rooms that we had to do. Okay. Whoever would get the mock-up room right would get the whole project. Yeah. So that was like a 350 crore renovation in the year 2003 that we got, which is, unheard of for an ID job, in those years, which is nowadays, if you see, it's, I don't know how much is it worth.
Yeah, even I can't calculate.
So there, because of technology, we had a lot of fun. It's all about experiences, about, lighting, mood lighting, color changing lighting, automation and lighting. These things India had never heard of such things before. Flat screen TVs, when people are still watching, the box TVs, every room we went out of our way to try and get those little LED reading lights, which every business class, seat in the aircrafts have, those things when they first saw from such a small light source, how come so much light's coming out and it's falling on the book the right way? How come the warm light is becoming blue to orange? People were...
it must have been so exciting for you to have, won that project.
Yeah, and we had great clients, of course, that the brand as well as the ownership, they've been my best clients ever, that allowed me to do all this crazy stuff. And it translated into mega profits.
Perfect.
It skyrocketed, their profits, their standing of the hotel in the entire country. It became the top most earning hotel in the entire country or South Asia in those days.
Amazing.
So similarly, the same philosophy, even after 20 years, we're still doing it.
Okay.
Now, if you see at the other end of the spectrum, a classic project in Rajasthan, like the Aurika that we did, or the Mementos that we did in both of them in Udaipur, or the Marriott in Jaisalmer, Marriott in Jaipur. All these have a strong Indian influence. But we did not create a typical palace. It is greatly palatial. You can say that, but
modernized.
It's our interpretation for present day, clientele, present day audience.
Mhm.
The flow patterns are there. In earlier days, a typical architect. By the way, most of those palaces were designed by Bengali architects
Okay.
in those days.
Okay. So it's
That explains some of the
Yeah.
details in Rajasthani architecture, which actually originate from Bengal.
okay.
That was, imported and made
Sure.
into stone versions.
Uh-huh.
But they would have made a flow pattern with 5 colors of marble. You kept the pattern, but to appeal to the modern day design sensibility, everything's tone on tone, cream, dark cream, off-white flooring. So it all looks very soft and creamy, instead of it being loud and cluttered flooring, things like that. So
Yeah.
the perception of design and sophistication has changed between then and now.
For sure.
That was 500 years ago. Well, we are in Rajasthan. I cannot do a Bombay, Gurgaon, or a New York or a Dubai hotel in
Rajasthan,
Jaipur or
yeah.
Udaipur. That's not why the tourists and the guests and the hotel guests are going there they're going there for another experience, for a big fat Indian wedding. So it has to complement with their sherwani or lehenga, So
That's a lot of thinking, yeah.
yeah, so the environment has to match with all the fine jewelry that you wear.
True.
And make you feel like you are one with that space and you feel great about yourself.
Uh-huh.
You are in a royal, location or space, but at the same time, don't feel that you're in some old ancient heritage fari-daddy property. So there is technology behind the scene. There is lighting behind the scenes. There is new age materials being used, but one can't tell what's going on in there. Why do they like it so much?
True. When you start, you think success is all about good design. At what point did you realize that running a design practice is actually about much more than design?
A little later in life, not in the initial few years for sure. Once we started scaling up and when the quantum of projects that we were handling with larger number of team members, when they came into the picture, I realized that there's a lot more than just running a regular practice, or design practice. There were so many aspects of non-design related matters that started becoming, more and more pronounced in our ways of working, which I was not ready for.
Mm-hmm.
I had not been trained to handle this kind of work, because ultimately the design and the business aspects, they started combining together, and it reached a point where 50% of my time was going into administrative activities in terms of financial, legal as well. I was not ready for all that, and that started slowly creeping in. And now, we have departments that take care of all this. And this is something that I strongly believe that the young generation who are getting into this design field should be trained in their design schools itself to prepare them for all this, and doesn't come as a shocker and you lose time in the process.
True.
We've had setbacks that took us, with various departments, with the government, some client got into trouble, we got dragged into their mess, things which we were not ready for. And now I've become like a lot more street smart, and I will not get into such situation, but I learned it the hard way.
Every designer dreams big, but every project comes with budgets, timelines, and client expectations. How do you make all of that work without losing the original idea?
I've been lucky when it comes to budgets.
Okay. You're really lucky then.
Yeah, so I do not work on frugal projects.
Okay.
Not that we can't do, it's just that in order to create that magic, I do need some budgets. And people who come to us, clients who come to us, they come for this special need, which many others cannot do. So we're lucky in that respect, where we do not have projects where I have to work within
Budget.
tight budgets. No, there is budget. Okay, it's not like it's not like
open-handed.
It's not fully open-handed. No, because again, there's return on investment. That quantum of investment is clearly defined from day one. If I greatly overshoot that, right, the return on investment is compromised.
Absolutely.
But that budget is realistic. What I'm trying to say is that it's not frugal, within which you cannot do the magic you're supposed to do. For your tastiest Italian food, you need the best quality ingredients, right?
Yeah.
The best tomato, the best quality of olive oil, or
cheese.
The authentic real cheese. So only then does it taste really tasty.
Absolutely.
If you look at our Indian dal makhani, it's the quality also of the makhan that's going into the dal.
True.
And the amount of energy, 8 hours of slow cooking or more that's gone into it. That's what makes it so special. So for that, you do need budgets towards 100%. Creating something really special. So in this country of 1.4 billion people, even if there are 500 or 1,000 of them that want these good things to happen, we're happy with them.
That's true. Things will work out.
Yeah.
Great projects are never built by one person. When you're putting together a team, what do you value beyond talent?
When we are working on any project, it's a large team that works on each project. It's not just, it might go into probably 20 people, 20 designers. And within the design group, there are various subgroups in that, and each one specializes in something. Everyone cannot do everything.
True.
I wish to have been able to do it with my people, but I realize that across the world, there's specialities. Someone's good at design, but need not be good at detailed drawings, or when it comes to presentation or 3D work. So when it comes to the FF&E is the building materials. Then when it comes to understanding of landscape, in that same project, there's architectural department, there's interior department, lighting, someone who understands lighting more. So each one plays their role.
True.
And together we come up with this one cohesive product that works. So it is more in micro level of management that we need really skilled, designers who will play their role right.
Okay.
And when you're doing large scale architectural projects, sometimes they go to over 1 million square feet, to being able to visualize spaces of that size. And how do you make that look special from outside and inside? So the visualization skill is damn important. And you have to be born with it. It's an inborn talent. It's you can't immediately cultivate it. Yes, through experience and time, but years of practice you might. But predominantly, it's an inherent skill and talent aptitude that one has.
So when you're forming a team for a particular project, so now you know that who's capable.
Yeah, we know each one's skill sets, and many times the junior designers who come and work with us, it becomes important for me to observe what they are also capable of doing, because they're going to become the future leaders.
Sure.
So at that stage only I'm able to sort of judge as to amongst the youngest designers who can be groomed towards doing bigger things. And we do that. My office has also become a bit of a training ground since many years. That
I think every big firm in any industry is facing this.
But we've been lucky in the sense that most of our people who've come and joined us, they've spent many years working with us before they move on. It's not just they're here for a short 2-3 years.
That's great then.
Yeah, so they're God's been kind, and obviously there's something that they enjoy doing here with us. That
I'm sure, of course, I mean, I
Yeah.
think the credit definitely goes to you also, because they always look up to whom they are working with.
to create also a very nice working environment, for them, where it
Absolutely.
doesn't feel, because there are deadlines, and they know their own responsibilities. I'm not pushing them. They know that
What they signed up for.
that in order to achieve excellence, there are no shortcuts, and there is hard work involved. And in the end, when the great design comes out and it gets executed, and they see it, right, there's a lot of satisfaction for everyone in that. And end of it, when we win lots of awards, around the world for our Desi projects on the highest levels of international platform, then something we have done really right.
That's what is very motivating for them as well.
Yeah. So we have won these highest levels of awards against the highest levels of international competition. So these are international competitions where entries go in from all around the world, and if we get the best hotel design award, or best hotel interior design award, or the best suite design, or a master plan of some city elsewhere in the world, anywhere else, and across geographies, across our projects in different geographies, and the competition is in another country.
Okay.
And when we send in our entries, we have won across all the continents, literally.
Wow.
Every continent we won, from North America. Only South America we've not won, because we've not done anything there.
Okay.
But in but hoping someone will call us.
Yeah, I'm sure
but in the Caribbean we won there. In Europe we won. Middle East we won.
Amazing.
In Arab countries we won there. India, of course, lots from here. Asia also.
Lovely.
Different.
That's amazing.
Africa also we won.
Wow. Africa is also like, I've heard that Africa is a very difficult place to work.
Yes.
There's a lot of, the infrastructure and to do with everything to do, I've just heard, I'm not sure.
No, you are right. It's not easy. And you even need bodyguards and stuff to go to the site. Yeah.
Even to fly in and fly out and get workers in, oh my God, people think 10 times before signing up these projects.
Yeah.
And if you won awards there, then you definitely
one part of Africa is kind of a lot more sane, is the islands, Seychelles and Mukherrji. They comes under Africa's.
Okay.
So they're also.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, we won.
You worked with clients for more than 3 decades. What's the biggest change you've seen in what clients expect from a designer today?
Between then and now, difficult question.
No, skip it.
The one thing that's changed is speed. Their expectation of design document deliveries, whether it's a presentation or it's documentation, their expectations are much faster. They expect things in a much limited deadline. That is also because of technology available that helps us hasten our speed of work. That is one I have noticed. Second is also they expect the team and all to have really good communication skills. Because now, there are large companies now that do projects. So there's communication between one company with another company, and their communication through emails, and their putting your point forward in effective communication becomes very important in managing a project efficiently. And so that's where a higher level of professionalism comes in. That's two, I see. And the third is their expectation that what is considered to be really truly world class. They expect your designers to do something that's internationally acceptable. You do have to have exposure. You have to be with it. And it's even better if you can go beyond that in doing something that the world will look up to. So those days are gone when, we were just happy with good, decent projects. Their aspirational levels are much higher. And it's enjoyable for us too, because we love to take up the challenge.
Of course.
And create something so trend-setting and beautiful, which is also timeless, because there's going to be so much of competition for whatever you do today. There'll be 10 more tomorrow.
That's true.
And what do you create that's going to be able to compete against all this future competition and still be relevant, by which you are still you will continue being the most successful number one such project, in that environment.
Correct.
So that requires a very high level of being far-sighted. Hindi में बोलते हैं आपको दूरदर्शी बनना है.
But then
So they do. So the intelligent client has expectation of all this, and usually the ones that they work with, not just us, whoever they work with, they have selected and narrowed down on such design firms, not just from India but from around the world, who are able to give you this. It's not a myopic, thinking, or you creating something for the moment, because the monies involved is so large. It's in millions and millions of dollars, thousands of hundreds and thousands of crores of projects, where they do expect, you to do your job right, and you are giving their money's worth, because they have entrusted you with so much resources to build that right product, that you just cannot afford to mess it up.
When it comes to design trends and industry insights, every industry is talking about AI right now. Do you see it changing the way architects design, or is good design something technology can never replace?
No, AI is like coming in a damn big way, very big way. Of course, AI will be your tool towards further improving your art. AI has also learned from the world's greatest designers to enrich his brain power.
Correct. That's a good point.
Okay. Where AI comes really useful is when your brain power is low and you want to put yourself in the shoes of that superior brain power. And now an average designer is able to give much better output using AI, which he or she would have never been able to do otherwise. As I told you, right? It's an aptitude-based subject. You're born with it. Or you can be mediocre, you can be low, you can be damn good. But the low and the middle ones have been able to
upgrade themselves.
Exactly. They will improve their act. So you can imagine the pressure on the ones who have to be on the top, that you have to think beyond what AI can produce.
Very good point, yeah, actually.
So you will have to tame AI for your own benefit and go even beyond that to be superbly relevant, because slowly it will replace jobs for sure. I can see it happening already.
Okay,
like people are losing jobs. In India, it's relatively less, but it's not too far. There's going to be an oversupply of say designers and architects where AI can do their job of say 5 designers or 10 designers. Just you need 2 designers to do the job then, who has great command over AI to do that. So it's
quite a dicey situation.
It's a dicey situation. What AI can luckily not do is what you do on ground.
Yeah.
The construction, the actual, executing the project, the brick and mortar construction. So many of the architects and designers will finally, I think, land up getting into the physical part of the building and construction industry, where they will use their minds and their knowledge and experience towards actual execution. So
that's quite a jump.
Yeah. So the end result, the quality of our projects and all will improve, because technical minds are now getting on ground.
the physical.
Yeah, yeah.
stuff.
No, not that they're going to
Yeah,
be late,
they're not going to do it, but
yeah,
they're going
but
to be there.
yeah, yeah. So
They're in a
that's also
different-
going to get quite rewarding.
Yeah.
So
So it's a good thing.
yeah, so there will be a bit of a shift, but it's evolving. Let's see, a lot of new, funny and strange
Yeah.
things will show up in the next decade.
Surely. Sustainability is now central to every conversation. How has your own approach to sustainable design evolved?
A lot between then and now. We do try to produce excellence using as much of local resources as possible. That's the bottom line.
Mhm.
Using local resources from your neighborhood as much as possible. Of course, you will not get anything and everything, but to try to produce beauty within your local resources is also very challenging, and it's a lot of fun. And more we are doing that, and also the audience, the end user, is also getting evolved enough to appreciate that. Earlier, great design means imported stuff, getting stuff from Europe, elsewhere. Now there's so much emphasis is given to local art and craft towards, and building materials towards realizing a project, which has never been the awareness now for this is far more heightened, and especially with the youngest generation, the new generation, they are going to be totally in sync with that, because they are really bothered about their future and their children's future. That makes them believe, and it's translating into profits as well. Because I see, not so much in our country, but in many other developed nations where really eco-friendly architecture, interiors, or the process of everything they do in that building, once they've gone in that direction, they are given a lot more patronage by the customers, resulting in them getting even higher rates than a glitzy, high consuming project. And this is happening. And so that evolved customer, right? I can tell by the people checking into their hotel and people who are dining there, right? They are far more evolved beings. Yeah. And it's growing.
When you started your career, luxury had one definition. If someone asked you today what makes a space luxurious, what would you say?
Again, I would say that it's coming back. It's what it does to your mood, to your sense, to your senses. If it is able to tease all those senses, then you've done your job right. It's everything. It's your smell, touch,
all
vision, all. Yeah,
should get activated.
Yeah, it's not necessary that you have to use some fancy tile marble or a velvet or a suede thing or some crystal chandeliers. No, those things.
I'm glad you look at luxury from another perspective. Otherwise, luxury for many is just
so that's a very I would say that's a very nouverish approach. People जिसको दिखावा करना है ना अभी आया है, but what happens, they themselves, as they mature through time, right, they themselves realize, they go back and say, ये मैं क्या किया? Now what have I done?
That's true.
This automatically, after a while, they themselves start getting subdued from the big LV on their bags or some big, double G's on things, right? Those things start disappearing because they're maturing, so that there will be people who will, of course, that in our massive population, any given time, there's a 0.01% who's just about arrived in that society. So, so his mindset will be to do that. ठीक है, let him do it. But then he will also evolve. His children will turn out to be very different.
Like we just discussed, design trends come and go. Which one do you think is genuinely shaping the future? And which one do you think we'll all laugh about in 5 years?
Changing the future, as you mentioned, right? It's becoming more and more organic and natural in in your design approach and all the ingredients that you put in towards making that is just getting more and more mature, and it's not stopping now. Of course, it is considered to be trendy in certain societies, but it's going to spread a lot more. And as technology improves, this will get further heightened because we will use technology towards exploiting these natural resources in your immediate environment in a much more effective way.
Okay.
Okay, it's going to get more accessible to people doing that. Sometimes it becomes more expensive as well, being totally eco-sensitive, but they will find a right balance towards making it more accessible to everyone and anyone. And to laugh about, there are so many that have come and gone, all those
shout outs.
Yeah. So in sometimes I'm aghast at seeing, some of those extra blingy spaces which has, gold, metal, crystals, and the cheap stuff that comes from China that people use, and whether it's a building gets onto the building facades as well, and as well as the insides.
Okay.
Through those lighting finishes and all that. That I think people do realize that it's not happening, and many of it is also a fallout of what they have seen in the earlier Bollywood movies.
Okay.
I think these set designers have an important role to play on the psyche of our population.
That's true.
So many of them are so inspired or influenced by that they expect to see, they are inspired to see that in their home. And
I would say rather influenced.
Yeah, okay. Both influenced, yeah, right. That's a better word perhaps. But once they start traveling around the world, they realize that this is not happening.
Good morning.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's when they do a cleanup act.
What has been your biggest professional lesson?
Hard work, real hard work always pays. There's no shortcuts to success. You have to be really true and passionate towards your work, and you have to be honest at what you're doing, and do not allow yourself to be corrupted by the environment and by the support system, so that you can continue doing your job ethically and in a professional way. I mentioned about hard work. That becomes very important because it's the hard work that helps you further refine your work. Okay. Now, the client has only X amount of money that he's paying you for this much square footage of work. It's like buying a Lucknowi white kurta. You can buy it at 5,000 rupees and you can buy it at 50,000 rupees.
Correct.
Right. What's the difference? It's the amount of karigari time that's gone into it. Many a times the client's not really rewarding you for that. But you are rewarding yourself, because by putting in that extra time, you are able to create a far more refined piece of work, which you are doing it for yourself. But of course, the client also benefits from that. But the moment you start thinking about shortcuts, which is so common in our environment, because the owners, the clients, sometimes pay our architects such low fee that the architects are willing to even accept it at that low fee. There is, as per professional code of conduct, you're not supposed to work at such low fee. There is a council of architects, but no one listens. They'll drop the pants down just to get that work. But at that measly fee, if you need to put in thousands of man hours of work, and it affords you only 500 hours of man hours of work, you will land up doing just that much, and you'll land up with some mediocre work, which you see all across the place. Same reason. We designers have a role to play in this. You know your capabilities, you know your worth. you know what you're capable of creating, and they you cannot do that in a jiffy.
Yeah, that's true.
It is slow cooking. You need that fire to burn for 8-10 hours to make that really tasty dish. You do the same thing in 2 hours or 1 hour of cooking, you will not get the same results. So designers have to realize that, and if we all put our, hold our, hands together and we take that approach, right, the market will learn. The fact is, the market has enough money to spend on the building materials, on buying that expensive marble, on doing that. But when it comes to paying that designer, which is not a tangible asset like buying a piece of marble,
They don't want to.
they don't. They'll put some really expensive marble, but their hands
Okay.
will itch at the thought of, paying.
Paying
इसको क्यों पैसा दूं इतना मैं?
इसका कितना कट है?
Yeah.
That is like, it's something that, needs to be put a full stop on, because I hear this a lot. I think you guys need to be paid for all the efforts that you all put in, because you all are professionals at the end of the day, and that has to be respected.
So what happens is that now we are in a position in life where, okay, we can command our prices, but I feel for all the new designers coming up, but they do not have to go to this level of, of an experience stoop down so much in the other countries, because we're working across so many environments, and now I see that
I think
it's more of our problem here than elsewhere.
Yeah, but I think now the problem is that the patience, the level of patience, your generation had, it's not even 30% now. They just want they want quick work. They want to become famous soon.
It won't happen. It won't happen. Our profession will not allow it.
It's short term. I mean, those who do it, see, everything is short lived today. Even an Instagram story or a reel, you watch it, you're just scrolling, right? So you're like, it's there, you're watching it, it's there for those 30 seconds and it's gone. The same way, and there's so much in the market that's available, so I think it's always good to go slow and steady and, make your mark, and then it stays. That's what you guys have done.
And ultimately, your work should speak for itself.
Always.
And how much ever you can get popular on social media, that intelligent client who's going to put his big bucks, right? He knows, where to put his money.
He knows.
He'll probably go to someone who he's heard of through his circles, who can be trusted, than being influenced by what happens on social media.
And they all have that sixth sense, that, okay, they'll meet everybody and then they'll decide what gives them, that their conscious tells them, okay, this is it.
Yeah.
And most of them.
So that person who's done that it person, right, is a hard worker. Okay. Who's been very passionate about what he has done, what he's created. So he's earned that reputation, which naturally, people will be drawn towards him or her.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, today's time, there are very few who have the patience, like, you all grew, you built up slow and steady. It's just a handful, I think, who still are like, let me go slow. I don't want to just rush up. And
so they are the ones who will be successful in the long run.
Exactly, yeah. After more than 3 decades, After more than 3 decades in the industry, what continues to inspire and motivate you?
Every day is a new challenge, a new geographic condition, a new culture that you're dealing with. And that's never ending, the excitement that goes on. And also in terms of technology, it's changing by the week, whether, and adapting to that, not just in terms of soft skills, but also in terms of all the new building material that comes out as a product of, new age technology. It's damn fascinating. So you have to constantly upgrade and, keep your mind like a sponge, that you have to be a student all the time and learn. And that process of learning is also very satisfying. And you to get to travel all over the world. in that quest for knowledge, which is also very satisfying. And how do you implement that knowledge in your work?
True. Is there one project that holds a special place in your heart?
Yeah, especially my first two projects that I mentioned about Ambi Valley and Le Meridian. They're and the new ones that hold a place in my heart, my latest passionate satisfaction is the new Hilton that we did in Gurgaon.
Okay.
It's the flagship Hilton hotel that's been hugely successful in a modern way, and in the classic settings, being successful in Rajasthan in that a style of project that we never ever did before. I was more inclined towards doing more modern contemporary designs, but when something like that came our way, studying our past and putting it together to create a new built form that is fit for our Indian culture, instead of us just aping the West. Having this coming in was very, very satisfying. So that was, these hotels that we did in Rajasthan for the Aurika, then the Mementos, and as well as the Jaisalmer Marriott was very satisfying, because we were able to experiment with our heritage architectural elements and putting it together. And I think more of this should happen across, like Dubai did it so successfully. They created their own style, heritage style. But the fact is, that style was all taken from Rajasthan and Morocco, a bit of Agra. They didn't really have much, but they took it. I mean, the little stuff that happened in the Arab nation was in Oman. That was quite an evolved culture when it came to architecture, heritage, ancient architecture. It's also probably because of its close proximity to India, geographically. You see the distance is quite small.
Yeah.
And also they had oasis and more access to water, so it was a little more. So they didn't have anything. They took it from us and they made it their style, and look how successful they are.
Absolutely.
And we have it all within our country.
And we still don't.
And we still don't have people who want to build more of such projects. This is happening because it's in Rajasthan, or it's a hotel, or people want that heritage experience. But I would love to see it enter into everyday life, into all kinds of, into residential, into commercial projects, into government buildings, into schools. Get inspired by your past.
That's true. But I think at the end of the day, life circle and everything does come back.
So it is evolving. I agree. You are right in saying that, because our culture is so old and was so advanced and so much depth to it.
True.
But the fact is, in the last 600, 700 years, because of the constant invasions and stripping of our culture and destroying of our culture and destroying of our universities, there was a complete eclipse of art and craft that happened. They destroyed all the universities, right? On a larger scale. Okay, that fine craft survived, but large monuments, all the great stuff that happened before that, of course. Then the invaders came in and they did their bit.
They also did a good job.
Yeah. And they did it for themselves.
Yeah.
If an amazing VT station happened, or the amazing parliament in Delhi happened, they never thought that, they would have to abandon it soon.
Yeah. That's true. But yeah, they did amazing.
But you see, in these projects, there were no Indians involved.
True.
You need a patron. And the patron will only patronize your own kind.
That's true.
So those invaders only patronize their own kind. So there was no place for us. So there's been a complete blackout. So it's taking time for it to come back, because at the end of the day, it's there in our DNA. It just needs to be polished. You need to give it fertile ground.
True. Hope it happens.
Yeah, so that that fertile ground is getting more and more, being able to cultivate now. So people will get the opportunity. People are maturing in the in the design field. You'll see a lot more designers getting into from India in the international scene, not just in our field, but in fashion, in jewelry design, or art.
To do with art and
it's becoming more and more pronounced.
If we talk about future vision, where do you see Indian architecture and design heading over the next 10 years? I think we just discussed this. But yeah, we can just, talk about it quickly.
Yeah, it is evolving. And as I said, the architect should not compromise and just dish out, our physical urban landscape is very mediocre in our city, in our cities. It's people, the stuff that we have made in the last, say 75 years, all the great stuff that exists is all historic stuff. It's all from hundreds and thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
What have we done to be so proud of? It's shameful. So hopefully, things are moving. An architect can only do good if he has a great patron. The patron needs to be as evolved as the architect. It starts from the patron, then comes the architect. All those amazing monuments that exist in India is done because the king, emperor, ruler, whoever, he got all done.
Supported. Yeah.
Our India's best planned city, New Delhi, the central part, again, that happened because a ruler got in this best architect to plan that. He did not give it to some mediocre architect and a peasant system of giving the job, say the government job. It's so important, the government projects, public projects.
Correct.
It's so important, that, from the past, it started with these L1 concept, the lowest bidder wins. What do you expect? There's enough talent. Get the best talent towards producing all public projects.
There's enough talent and there's enough money also.
Exactly. So that money is not being wisely spent.
Exactly.
And they land up with just mediocre, buildings and environments, when all this can be done so well. What have we done?
And it can be long lasting if it's done well.
Look at that. The good parts of Bombay is in South Bombay. Okay. After Worli or Prabhadevi, or I would say Bandra, and you go to the distant suburbs, it's cobweb of streets.
And the roads being renovated every
year. Yeah. So, okay, that's another thing. But in terms of planning as an architect, all this could have also been planned, no?
Everything.
Sensibly.
Exactly.
Look at Pune. It's a cobweb. The best parts of Delhi are again the ones that was planned properly by people. New Bombay works, Navi Mumbai.
Yeah.
Because they got Charles Courier to plan it. They got the best architect to plan the whole city with, proper roads, networks, right widths that even work even till today. And what have we done? You go to Andheri, Lokhandwala, or you go to Jogeshwari. The distance is hardly anything between two suburbs. But it's a nightmare to cross through that.
That's true.
It's poor planning, poor vision given to the worst architect or the worst planner. Do all that. That's what you will get. So in the grand scheme of things, that money they saved was such a big loss in the grand scheme of things to our nation.
That's true, yeah. If there was one dream project you could design anywhere in the world, what would that be?
Again, it would be to design a whole city, a big habitable city in India, not outside, in different geographic conditions, from the cool regions of the foothills of the Himalayas to a beach area, or to the middle of in a desert environment, or in the plains of Uttar Pradesh and Bengal, Bihar, to create really nice, bustling cities that has a great quality of life. It's all doable. It's all doable. We just need a good visionary patron. That's probably the government or the chief minister. And That's the best gift that they can give to their people, and
Very thoughtful.
the country will remember you forever, because a city lives for thousands of years. It's not just a one, short-term thing.
Of
You
course.
you plan a good city and you give that, and it'll slowly grow. Even when you're dead and gone, it's still growing. But you have laid the basic
Foundation.
blueprint, the foundation of what the city should be, and it's all put into the laws of that city. Is made part of the municipal plan, the development plan of the city,
Yes.
and it'll stay.
Of course, it will stay.
And there are such amazing ideas that are possible to be done now. Just need a good.
It's so tempting to hear this. I mean, it's like
You saw what
I wish
happened
we
in-
could do something.
You saw what
about
happened in Singapore, right? What was it?
Yeah.
That the main orchard road of Singapore was
Mhm.
as good as a Dharavi
Oh,
at one time, because they got an amazing leader. Look where Singapore is. It's got the highest quality of life that a city or a small nation can get.
but then they continue it also.
Exactly.
And we still
Yeah.
continue to be on the top. That way, I think even Dubai has
Amazing.
done amazing.
Absolutely amazing from what
From
it
what
was.
it was to what it is.
Exactly. Just, again,
And the confidence they have.
It's leadership.
internally,
it is all
absolute.
leadership.
Agreed.
They were so lucky that the king, his son, and his grandson, everyone turned out to be rock stars.
Yeah.
They are so intelligent in their thinking that from a small Bedouin nation to the entire world looks up to Dubai for
Everything.
quality of life.
For sure. Yeah.
It's vision again. It's all about the vision of the leadership. That's where it
That's
all
true.
starts. So when they got to design that Jumeirah Marina area,
JBR, right?
yeah, or the downtown
Mm-hmm.
area, the whole master plan,
Yeah.
who did they go to? They went to the two world's biggest design firms, HOK and SOM. There was no L1 there that they gave it to some local architect. This thing would not have happened. They got the world's best minds to work on that project, to plan it. And look at the result. That's vision.
That's amazing. I mean, it's such a big lesson. It's just 2 hours away, but it's another world.
But that's why do you think all these Indians who can afford, they all have a small piece of Dubai, because when they're fried being here,
Yeah.
it's just 2 hours away, and you're completely. It's
A
another
different
extension of
world.
India.
Yeah.
It is an extension of
It's
India.
developed India.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
totally.
very easily doable. We have far more resources than them.
Yeah, we sure do. Yeah.
There's only one thing missing that needs to be looked into. Everything will fall into place.
I hope that happens sometime soon. Beyond the buildings you've created, what legacy would you like Bobby Mukherji to leave behind?
Yeah, that I would influence the nation and the younger generation, to get back India to its past glory.
Oh.
At one time, we were the inspiration of the whole world. The entire world looked up to us until, say, 600-700 years ago, 1500 years before that. For 1500 years, we were by far the most evolved nation, society, culture on planet Earth. We were probably some 30% of world's GDP.
Is it?
Yeah. Why did everyone want to come and plunder us? Because we had everything.
Everything.
The
my
amazing
God.
food, the gold, the gems, the quality of life, clothing, linen, colorful
Everything, yeah.
life. Everything was here. I mean, God's been
Super kind.
to us. Just the way God's been super kind to Italy.
Okay.
The difference that between them and us is that they were able to hold their fort. No one could come and invade them and take over and strip them of their culture and wealth, which happened with us. We were not able to fight and ward them off. Hence, they have been able to evolve. They've been able to retain their amazing art, craft, and way of life, which we have not. All the best universities used to be in India. People would come from all over the world to study here, like how we go to the US and Europe to study, right? They came the other way around.
I hope
So help. So yeah. So they say every dog has a day. So we had our days. We lost it all, and hopefully we'll have it back. And we have an important role to play in that. People like ourselves.
What's one design trend everyone seems to love that you simply don't understand?
In terms of present design trend, I quite like everything that's going on. There's so many parallel design trends that are going on, by the way. There's no one. And some of the new ones, though, I quite like, nice. They say the wabi-sabi or Japandi style. I think it's evolving. The earlier loud stuff of, say, Dolce & Gabbana, Home had come up with some stuff, right? Earlier in between. I was wondering what was that. And then now they themselves have
evolved.
Yeah. So it's people are learning from their mistakes, and it is getting more and more refined.
Have you ever checked into a place and immediately started redesigning it in your head?
Yeah, it often happens. It happens very often. Sometimes I go and stay in some of our properties around, not just in India, also in the US, and I find glaring mistakes, not in terms of quality of interiors, but in terms of practical aspects or anthropometric things missing, proportions, functionality, where you think that, these are basics that even my grandmother can point out and say that, who's not an architect, that, it should have been done this way, and they design it and gets executed also on top of that.
This is something that I'm going to now be more alert about when I check in. Is there one material you think designers don't use enough?
Yeah, it's some of our old traditional materials that would be used, from our ancient plasters to thick walls that keep the heat out. Then comes to certain, flooring tiles, which were, traditional, really cost-effective ways also of building, and still looked so aesthetic. All that's gone or is dying. Natural, because everything has become so practical that the fact of using natural materials in upholstery and fabrics, everything has become so synthetic that the fact that it's far more healthy and comfortable to sleep on cotton than all these synthetic materials. That just because they are worried about the longevity of that fabric or maintenance, they're willing to compromise on their health in the bargain.
That's a very deep thought.
Then when it comes to lighting, I'm not comfortable with all this, so much of LED technology in the lighting. It's all, the color temperatures of the lighting is all distorted. It spoils the colors, which in your vision, the color rendition of when you're looking at your food or your clothes, all that's getting distorted with LED lighting. That's not what we were used to seeing.
Yeah.
If you compare to earlier, the tungsten filament bulbs or the halogen lamps or even a candlelight, so everything is becoming so synthetic that if I had my way, I would still like to go back to the heritage way. But I also realized that when I saw some really successful, super high-end projects where money was not budgets was not a constraint, I actually saw them use those kind of lights, and again, those old ones. In a completely new setting. Reason being that those lighting did something far more effectively than our modern technology can. In certain things, we have gone back. Yes, we are saving a lot of power, the lights are lasting longer, but when it comes to that sensory experience, we are losing out.
Which city anywhere in the world never fails to inspire you?
One is New York, Manhattan, only Manhattan part of it. Bangkok,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of amazing craft and art that thrives even there till now, and Milan.
Nice.
So, and these are mainly is because of the art and the craft and the art movements and the creative and design and art sensibility
Mm-hmm.
of the people that inhabit these cities. Even a common man there, even the taxi driver there, even the sweeper there, they have enough knowledge on art and craft, on design.
What's the funniest client request you ever received?
I can't think of any.
Everyone's always very serious when it comes to Bobby. Bobby means business.
No, not necessarily. The funny, because I have made some funny things for them.
Okay.
That they might not even know that they required or they need, but when they give you a free hand, there've been some, right? Like some clients, they trust us so much that, Bobby, you know me, I think you do whatever you want that you think is best for me. And we land up with some really crazy stuff, which he or she might not have realized that he even requires it. And once we do that crazy presentation and designs, right, they want it. Yeah, they want it. Yeah, when you're giving this, so that life is too short, right? Yeah. And you want to enjoy all this, and it's not buying a piece of clothing that you can just buy off the shelf.
True.
It takes time to make it, to execute it, to build it. So that's when after that they get an itch that we're dying to see it happen. Please move fast on that.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a quick rapid fire question. So, one word that defines great design.
Timelessness.
One material you could never stop working with.
Natural stone.
One architect or designer, past or present, you'd love to have dinner with.
Mies van der Rohe.
Okay, nice. A city that constantly inspires you.
Manhattan.
One design rule worth breaking.
Budgets again.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Early mornings or late nights?
Late nights.
Okay. You've spent so many years shaping spaces that millions of people experience every day. When people walk into a space designed by Bobby Mukherji architects, what's the one feeling you hope stays with them long after they've left?
Well, again, it boils on the same thing that, they just go back and they don't know why they felt so nice being in that space that they want to keep going back. And I also feel damn good when, they're taking lots of pictures, or now because of this Instagram thing, selfies against those, backdrops and all those selfie points, which has become part of our design now that people want that. And And in earlier days, this thing was not there. But when you create some big volumes of space and people from around the world, would come and photograph them and experience them and take it back to show whoever. Mm-hmm. That was very satisfying.
Awesome. One last question or one last thing I'd like to ask you, that it's 20 years of Acetech, and anything you would like to say about?
I think I've been there with you guys since day one, I think, right? Yeah. When you were starting, and
it's been a great support.
Yeah, it's been, I would say, a big congratulations to you that you have taken it to this level, and to a level where I think there is no competition. You don't have any competition. I know what goes on in our country, so so that's great. That and I also go there. I've been there many years. Some years I might have missed because of my travels, but mostly I have been there, and I mainly go there not just because of you and Sumit are my friends, but I also go there to see, in case I chance upon some new vendor that's come up with some new product or something wow. And there have been over the years that we have identified companies that I was impressed with, and even now they are they're working with us. Yeah. Awesome. So I do this all over the world. I'm constantly looking for new uh, building materials or craftsmen who can add more value to our projects. And so on the biggest platforms in our country is what you have.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. And thanks for all the inputs and all that you've spoken. I've learned so much from today's Walk the Talk. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Okay,
once
thanks for
again.
coming and
My pleasure.
good luck to you.